What up, martial arts people? Today we're doing something special. I have here my good friend, Sifu Break Couple, and we're going to show you the difference between fighting in Kung Fu style and sparring freestyle. So, how long have you been doing Kung Fu now?
20 years.
20 years. Yeah. And I've done Hunggar for 3.5 years, and since then I'm doing kickboxing. And I want to show you, like, what you see in forms and social media is not how you would fight in sparring, free kind of sparring in Kung Fu. That's a huge difference.
We're gonna do our best to spar with Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And you have to really think about even though we've been doing these movements for a while, you're looking at it in more of a different context, longer combinations, moving around with the opponent. So this is where things are not gonna be as beautiful as you would see in like a Kung Fu movie.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do our best to make it as Kung Fu as possible.
Yeah. And remember that those are big gloves. Some of the techniques just simply don't work in gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
What kind of a pace do you want? Here, hit my hand. Like that?
All right.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then
right.
make it from here, huh?
Yeah.
You ready?
Ready.
And 5.
The difference between Shaolin and Hunggar Kung Fu is not that obvious at the first glance, but you will see some differences. So for example, Brian is using a lot of circular movements, whereas myself, I'm trying to do Hunggar at my best here. I'm usually more focused on center line and going directly in, which is something that you would see also in styles of Wing Chun. You see, we try to use our trapping hands a lot because there's a saying in traditional Kung Fu that the hand which is on top is going to win. And usually you don't have big high kicks, you would have a front kick, a snap kick, and a lot of different low kicks. This kick here that you saw, kick to the front thigh, is usually forbidden in a lot of combat sports because it could move the knee joint into a direction that it cannot move. And you see also the difference in guard, whereas Brian has always one hand up, the other hand is usually a little bit lower, and I'm already influenced by my kickboxing training that I have my hands a little bit higher, whereas I should have my hand one in front of my head and the other hand then extended to protect the torso. This is just another guard, and you see here this crazy move that you see in a lot of Kung Fu movies, which is something I wouldn't do in like kickboxing sparring. You see now here beautifully these big, flashy, extended moves, circular moves that Brian is doing from Shaolin. And if you pay attention to the stances, you can recognize a lot of the traditional stances that we are switching in a dynamic form. It's not that obvious anymore, but this is how you do sparring. It's not that obvious. And this is exactly what you want to show with this video.
What you see is that it doesn't look as beautiful as in the moves. And sometimes it's also hard to see the moves.
Yeah, you're waiting and you're trying to set up for a particular move. Yeah, for sure.
That's always the thing, that people expect something, but that doesn't meet what you see or what we see in reality. They expect the beautiful forms you see in Kung Fu movies.
Yeah.
When you apply it then in sparring, it doesn't look like this. And then they're, oh no, fuck, it doesn't look like this. Why? Am I doing something wrong? But no, you don't. It's just reality.
Yeah, it's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always mix in some techniques if you really wanted to, but you always want to stick with your fighting basics. If you're going to be in something like this, you have gloves on, you can't grab or wrap somebody, so you stick with your jab, cross, hook, uppercut. But every so often, I mean, if you want to really put it in there, you come through here, you do your one punch, you know, or, you know, there were a couple of techniques though that are still universal. This one we call yum tap, okay, or lo yum choi, and this one was quite useful. Some of the uppercuts, they just are very big in most of the forms, so there's that, and then just like big swinging punches are pretty easy to see, and sometimes you just get tangled up.
We're doing the same thing again, but we don't try to adhere to a particular style, just do how we would do it.
Yeah,
so
with maybe 1 or 2 moves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no Canadian geometry. It's US.
Now you see already my stance has switched. I'm now more of a forward lean, and this is basically influenced by my kickboxing training. You will see that I'm moving around pretty much. That's the bouncing that I'm trying to do, get in reach and then go out again. Doing my fast attack and then switch out the zone where I'm in. And now you're going to see a fighting error or a strategy error here because I'm attacking with a kick. And our coach always tells us when you fight here, when you fight for our gym, you don't attack with a kick because you have to set it up. It's otherwise catched as easily and you're countered. Now this little hook kick to the head I'm trying to do has not that much of a power. If it's executed correctly, a lot of knockout power if you catch your opponent off guard. But it's usually something that I wouldn't recommend because high kicks like this, when they are slow, when they're not with a much power and intent, they're usually seen pretty good from your opponent. Now you see the start, the classic blocks with the forearms, and what we also see is this Superman punch that Brian is doing. That's for sure traditional.
That's traditional.
Yeah.
Here again, Brian tried to do the kick to the thigh, to the front thigh, which is illegal at a lot of organizations, for example, like Wacom. Now Brian tried to move in here, do a spinning back fist, but unfortunately he was a little bit too close to get the full power out of it. But it has a lot of knockout power if you spin really through. Unfortunately also forbidden in some organizations. This could have ended really badly for me. And again, I tried to extend my foot and let Brian a little bit do his thing because we are here in a friendly sparring session. We want to learn from each other, which is the main point here, to compare style by style and learn.
Little recap.
Got some traditional in there.
You can see the difference and you can also comment the differences that you saw. That, for example, I tried to have my guard up a little bit more, like this. Whereas when I would do Kung Fu, more free neck, searching the arms, searching for the bridge.
True. I still let my hands drop. But there's a distance. It's all about distance. We spent most of our time in the long range.
Yeah.
Once you find that even after then, when you start moving in, hands are going to come up.
Yeah.
But if we're moving around, I want to try to invite. So it's all right if my hands are down for a little bit. So the first comment always, oh, the hands are down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at.
I want you to try to move in. So that's part of it.
I think it's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
He
always has his hands down. Yeah.
He fights like this.
Yeah. It's just knowing when to use it.
Yeah.
Knowing when to keep your guards up. But for sure, it's more of a standard guard position.
Yeah.
You look at the combinations too a little bit different. Trying to set up for the next strike, not just throw. Trying to get to an angle for a big punch, but actually trying to find the right spot to throw it at the right timing. So, yeah, I mean, in this context, it really goes a lot better. Spar this way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's a lot more fun.
So, if you want to see how to not do martial arts when you are on social media, then watch one of our playlists or one of our videos in the playlist up here, and we see us in that one.